Extremely exciting night for the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, going into the draft process, at the beginning of this, we weren't sure with the Anthony Davis trade whether our pick would convey to us or actually stay with the Pelicans. So step one in making this pick selection was getting the news that the Pelicans would allow us to keep our pick this year, which of course was 17. And that started, the deliberations with the scouts and other front office folks, and then onboarding J.J. Redick and getting our board right. We would have never imagined a player as skilled and sort of perfect for our needs would be there for us as Dalton Knecht. We had him, as a top 10 player unanimously across our scouting boards. I was at the SEC tournament scouting him extensively, and in my mind was like, there's no way a player like this could be available for us to pick on draft night. So across the board, just couldn't be happier. I was joking with Coach Redick upstairs that, we found a movement shooter to match his skills as a player. And he was already had his whiteboard out, drawn up pin downs and ATOs and actions where he could run a movement shooter off screen. So I think his mind is already working on drawing up plays for Dalton. So just really, really excited. The draft is an unpredictable process. You never know how it's going to go when the night starts. And for it to end this way, we couldn't be more thrilled. So I'll just open it up to the room for questions. And again, appreciate you guys being here on draft night.
We'll start it off with Mike Trudell. We'll get our beats, and then we'll get some other questions.
Rob, we know it's really a long process where you guys are watching every player, right, to make your board. What stood out early about Dalton Knecht, and kind of how would you describe his skill set and where you might think what he did in college translates to the NBA level? Yeah,
SEC Player of the Year, it's one of the toughest conferences, and so just his competitive nature stood out. He's a 3-level scorer, a guy that's going to defend. He's physical, he's athletic, really a 3-and-D player, which every roster, craves. But he's also he's a really good athlete. At the combine, he had a 39-inch vertical, so he's got the ability to go off the bounce, attack the rim when teams run him off the line. So that versatility is really hard to find. And we just think he fits so well with our pillar pieces, and AD, and hopefully if things work out in free agency with LeBron. But to have a guy that will cause gravitational pull because of his shooting, and also when you run shooters around the court like he can do, it morphs the defense and just opens up driving lanes. So there's just a lot of versatility to his game, and I think he gives us a weapon that we currently don't have on our roster.
Dave?
Rob, did you have Dalton in for a workout?
We did not. With the 17th pick, we asked for it, and I think the agents make those decisions, and oftentimes when guys are at the beginning of the process, ready to go in the top 10, we don't have a chance to work them out. So we didn't, but again, scouted him extensively. I was able to see his last few games in college, which was great. Our scouting team unanimously had him, again, in the top 10 on their board. So we felt like we knew him really, really well. He just hasn't been in our building yet, and will be soon, and we're excited for that.
And just quickly, when McCain goes off the board, then do you guys kind of in the room, does your mind shift to connect pretty quickly?
There was no shift. We were just super excited that the possibility of him being there. And again, if we would have had the 10th pick in the draft, we would have taken him. So to get that value at 17 is really extraordinary.
Rob, obviously we know offensively what he can do, but you mentioned 3-and-D in his defense. How do you see him fitting in defensively? And which position do you think?
Yeah, I think the way he's built, he's an older kid in the draft, so he's 23, and so he's got big shoulders and just a big base, and I think he'll use his strength to defend. I think he'll be able to guard, 3s, 2s, and he's got pretty good feet that even if he gets switched out onto a 1, I think he'll compete. So switchable defender, not a 5-position defender. He's 6'6", but I think he'll be a good perimeter defender, and that's why I label him as a 3-and-D player.
BT?
Rob,
BT.
At 23, Do you guys view him as someone that's ready to play right now versus someone that will be 18, 19?
Yeah, I think that'll ultimately be a Coach Reddick question, but I think our discussions upstairs were, wow, we just found a player that we can see playing on next year's team and having a real impact. And that's exciting. I think he has a lot of upside left in his game. Of course, his journey, he started out in junior college and made it all the way to Tennessee. So at every step, he's improved, and we'll expect that improvement at the next level as well.
Kobe?
Rob, back before the trade deadline, I guess after the trade deadline, you mentioned how you guys had one pick then, now you could have had the option to use up to 3. Obviously, you guys took Dalton. Just how have you seen, I guess, how did that process go? Did it go differently than maybe you may have thought back then because of that pick, or the 3 picks you could use?
Yeah, we explored, we talked about this a couple days ago when Coach Reddick was introduced. We explored every upgrade we could to make our team better. I do think if you polled every 30 GM, all 30 GMs across the league, just in general, trades have become more difficult because of the new CBA system. And so there's less access, I think, to making those big moves than maybe there was under the old system. But it didn't keep us from trying to look at everything and ways to put ourselves, in a position to be better. But even this pick alone, I feel like gives us a big boost, and we're excited about it.
Kurt?
Rob, when a guy goes from junior college to a very small college in northern Colorado to SEC Player of the Year, what do you see in that?
A gym rat. We've studied him hard, and this kid lives in the gym. I think to be an elite shooter and to be an elite movement shooter, the only way to get there is with constant reps. And when we did our intel and study on him, at every level, he's the guy that's in the gym the most. And I think that'll be our expectations here. I think even though he's 23, player development is still a key. I think his best years are ahead of him, and we're going to put Coach Reddick's player development staff around him and help him continue to improve.
Hey, Rob, because of that journey, did you get a sense that he has kind of a chip on his shoulder with everything?
Yeah, just in talking to him when we drafted him, I think, of course, he was rated on a lot of the boards, top 8, top 7. So I think already you can just feel that mentality of, okay, some of these teams passed on me. I'm going to show them they were wrong. You can just get that sense from him, just his aura, his vibe. So I just think he's a really, really interesting tool to us to add to our other players. Really excited.
Alan?
Rob, aside from his skill set, are there important characteristics that you see in him or that you guys got? I know you said the gym rat, but are there other characteristics that are important? Partially making a decision?
Yeah, I think when you have, the superstars on your team, then you need to get guys who are willing to be a star in their role. And he does some really, really important things in those aspects to help the great, great superstars do what they're able to do. And I think I can just see him on the court now, just the way LeBron makes reads. And, Anthony Davis commands double teams, and you have a shooting weapon like that on the opposite side. I think you can already see the potential there.
Last 2, both Jim, and then we'll end with Gerard.
Given where he was in the mock drafts, at what point did you feel confident that, hey, we got a chance to get it?
That's a good question, Jim. It's interesting. We usually rank our board, and we'll take guys off when they get drafted. And like I said, we had him ranked very high, and all of us were looking around the room saying, there's no way he's going to still be there. So, it's like the 11th pick gets called, and then you say, well, there's no way they're not going to take him at 12. And then no way they're not going to take him at 13. And then the anticipation kind of mounts, and of course, with that, the anxiety kicks in. And then you're like holding your breath. And when Philadelphia made the pick and chose another great player, we couldn't believe they didn't say his name. And we got to say it instead when we made our pick, which is great.
Last question.
Obviously, he can fill it up. We've all seen it that watch college basketball. Do you have any concerns defensively with him?
I don't. Again, this kid has improved his body. He's going to live in the weight room. He's committed to getting stronger, staying quick. And I just think his size alone, he's a +4 wingspan. He's got good size for a shooter. A lot of teams, when you have a shooter, you got to height him at the other end. And that's not the case with him. He's got, sturdy body, good size, 6'6", +4 wingspan. I like his chances.